के. तो जब मैंने अपना jewelry business शुरू किया था, तो I started hoarding all the jewelry in that. So all the jewelry was in one box. And then when orders started coming in, then that got me this. So I started taking off. Like I don't want to spend money in buying boxes and all, क्योंकि 1,000 रुपए के boxes कौन खरीदेगा, ठीक है? Like 6 dozen, like 1 dozen came for 1,500 to 1,000 bucks. So I was like, चलो ठीक है. तो मम्मी के जो Tupperware के डब्बे होते थे ना, and I was back home then. तो मैं उन डब्बों में मैंने स्टोर करना शुरू कर दिया था.
So, Diksha, thank you so much for joining our hashtag Entrepreneurs Who Fly series, wherein we celebrate entrepreneurs who dreamed of flying higher and starting their own business. The idea is not that it's not necessary that only when an online business becomes, let's say, Flipkart or Boat, or raises big capital, that one should come out and share their story. Every journey is unique, and that's why we want to give voice to every e-commerce entrepreneur who flies high, right? So, how about we start by knowing you a little better? So, we want to know our entrepreneur better. So, tell us about yourself, like, where you grew up, your background, education, hobbies, anything like that.
So I'm born and brought up in Guwahati. It's the capital of Assam, right?
Right,
So I was
right.
born there. I did a few years of my education in a boarding school called the Assam Valley School. I moved to Delhi to do my undergraduation, like my graduation. I did my undergrads from Delhi University. I did
Right.
in journalism and mass communication. In my final year of college, I started an agency of mine because at that time I was already freelancing for a lot of brands who wanted to adopt these. I would call myself a writer more than, like, I'm also a content creator today, but
Right, of course.
yeah. So back then I used to write a lot. Back then when it was mostly text, it was mostly blogs. It wasn't video content as much. So I used to
Right.
write a lot, and brands used to reach out to feature, like to write articles for them, feature stories, or let's say social media content, etc. Strategy, campaigns, planning, etc. So that's when I started an agency, ran that for about 5 years. Realized that brands were not at that stage where they wanted to listen to stories. That
Okay.
they wanted very quick result, very key, and they never. For me, people are an extension of the brand. Like if
Absolutely.
especially at lower levels, because I was not helping big brands, right? I was usually mostly helping small scale brands, small scale entrepreneurs, but they never really, most entrepreneurs who I had to ditch as a client were people who never came out. It was mostly a side hustle for them, or something that they would
Okay.
put their weekends on or whatever, and they would never wanted to share the real story, the real struggle. They always wanted to show the fairy, dreamy side
Right,
of
right.
an
Not the
office
raw
space.
story, like what's
Yeah,
the
or not the
reality?
raw story. It was mostly कि फाइनल चीज क्या आ रही है, द आउटपुट ऑफ इट, बस वो आ रहा है. इट्स मोस्टली प्रोडक्ट
Correct.
प्रोडक्ट प्रोडक्ट.
But what put kaise aaya, what was the journey? That and
Right,
all they
right. The
never show.
journey was not being covered as much.
Correct.
And so 5 years down the line, I realized that, okay, and there was a lot of money being spent by brands. It was not like brands are not spending money.
Of
And
course.
yet, I found it very, and it was a partnership setup. So I had a different vision from what my other partners had. My partners wanted to mint money. I wanted to really be able to make a difference and really be able to create brands out there. Like I
Right.
really wanted कि brands इतना पैसा लगा रहे हैं, उनको उतनी ROI मिले उनको. Any
Hmm.
which way, so I realized that, okay, I don't want to keep doing this thing for brands all the time. And then I decided to take a break from the agency life. Then I only picked up, like, I it was like then it became a very smaller setup where I used to just do it myself. I
Right.
used to mostly do strategy for brands, and then I could handping those brands, right? Like do
Okay.
brands that would understand where I am coming from, and I could understand, okay, do I need to do the brands need to understand that, okay, Diksha can bring storytelling for us. She can give
Right. So
you
I think it would be right to say that you must have also become thoda sa picky when it came to, brand. Are they
right,
making a
right,
real impact? So I want to pick
right.
those kind of
So
brands, right?
right, so I did that for a bit, and then I come from a business family, a business household. So I was like कि यार at the end मुझे पता है कि मुझे कुछ ना कुछ अपना भी बनाना है. Like I know that was also mine, but I wanted to create something of my own. Like the Marwari brain never stops thinking कि क्या करें next,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
So and then jewelry came into my mind because personally, like one thing that I would wear a lot even during COVID was jewelry. Like I would just sit wear my jewelry. I would count, like I would just display my jewelry some days. And
I,
my
I mean, I personally like doing that. Sorry to cut you off, but it's like a good feeling. You can just dress up and wear some nice jewelry and put
right,
some makeup.
right,
It feels nice.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I have a very solid jewelry collection. Like even today, like my jewelry collection, apart from the brands, I still have like a major jewelry collection. I would like
Nice.
collect jewelry from all across the country, or
Okay.
even if
Okay.
I travel anywhere else. And
Got
that
it.
jewelry was 99% of times handmade. It was very unique, and
Mm.
they were affordable because they were made by the artisans, and they was not like purchased by high end brands, right?
Right. Right.
And they were mostly different kinds of artwork. They involved different kinds of artwork. And then I was like, यार, और जो मुझे मार्केट में फिर मिलने लग रहा था ना, या तो वो चीप चाइनीज
Quality.
प्रोडक्ट का ही सिमिलर कॉपी आ रहा था, या तो द फिनिशिंग वाज वेरी बैड बिकॉज दे वर डन बाय लाइक देन लो स्किल्ड कारीगर्स आल्सो, जिसका फिनिशिंग आपको नहीं पसंद आता है.
Right.
और इट वाज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, एंड मे बी एक्सपेंसिव फॉर अ रीजन, नॉट सेइंग दैट एक्सपेंसिव है तो कोई उनका काम उतना ही सुंदर था कि वो
Right.
एक्सपेंसिव है.
Got it. Got it.
But the average middle class family or middle class woman would have found it very difficult to afford that specific type of jewelry. Let's say a pair of
Got it.
handmade earring worth 3,500, 4,000 is very expensive for somebody to just buy randomly. I wanted to
Right.
create designs that जो लोग ना सोचे ना दो बार पहले खरीदने के.
Huh.
And I wanted to create a product for the masses. Like I understood that मेरे marketing skills भी कहाँ strong है. I come from a middle class household, so I feel that I understand my audience, or I
Right.
understand who am I as the audience. So what are the factors that interest me, and
Right.
that's how I started with a little extra, and yeah, it started with like, let's say even 3-4 orders a day would make my day at that point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now the journey it's been about, it will be 3 years this year, in
Oh,
a few
amazing.
months. Yeah, and the journey has been quite nice. It has been quite insightful learning, and we are a brand that grew during the pandemic period, right? And I think the pandemic did come as a time when a lot of brands appeared, like a small businesses appeared on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah. 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 True. True.
So yeah, that happened. Like I remember, to give you a certain story, like I know this question is just getting bigger,
No,
and
no,
like the
I
answer
love that. If you
is
could share some, incidents, yeah,
yeah.
that
So I'll
moment
tell you
between,
this.
yeah.
I received a PR package at one point in time. It was a like it was a square box. ठीक है, तो जब मैंने अपना jewelry business शुरू किया था, तो I started hoarding all the jewelry in that. So all the jewelry was in one box.
Hmm.
And then when orders started coming in, then that got me this. So I started taking off. Like I don't want to spend money in buying boxes and all, क्योंकि
Right.
1,000 रुपए के boxes कौन खरीदेगा, ठीक है? Like 6 dozen, like 1 dozen came for 1,500 to 1,000 bucks. So I was like, चलो ठीक है. तो मम्मी के जो Tupperware के डब्बे होते थे ना, and I was
Okay.
back home then, तो मैं उन डब्बों में मैंने स्टोर करना शुरू कर दिया था. And then I remember, then after that कि मम्मी कह रही है मेरे Tupperware डब्बे खत्म हो गए. Then dad got me like half a dozen के boxes, ठीक है?
But were they Tupperware boxes or were they like decoration boxes? Yeah.
No, they were just like regular plastic ke dabbe. Like
Okay.
Tupperware is expensive, right?
It
So,
is.
and you don't need Tupperware storage to store earrings, right? You don't need like airtight or whatever. So
Yeah.
normal जो plastic containers होते हैं वो पापा लेकर आ गए थे 6. And then and all of this happened while I was still in Guwahati, and then obviously like I had to move back to Delhi at some point because that's where my everything was, like my luggage, everything, my house, and I wanted to stay in Delhi only.
Okay. Okay.
So आफ्टर मतलब तो ना वो थोड़े थोड़े मतलब वो एक डब्बे से 2-3-4 डब्बे हुए, 6-7 डब्बे हो गए थे और 10-15 डब्बे हो गए थे. एंड देन आई टुक लाइक अ कार्टन बैक टू गुवाहाटी व्हेन बैक टू दिल्ली व्हेन आई मूव्ड इन बिटवीन द पैंडेमिक, जब थोड़ा सा स्लो डाउन हो गया था चीजें.
So this was in 2021 or
This was in 2020 November is when I moved to
Delhi?
Delhi again, like
Got
back
it.
to
Got
Delhi. I
it.
was in Delhi, but I moved back home for the pandemic period. Then
Of course.
2020 I moved back, and then I remember like मैंने अपने घर से काम करना शुरू करा था तभी. तो there was this open shelf that I had. तो उससे पहले मैंने एक अलमीरा में अपने इयररिंग्स लगाए थे. फिर और नीचे मेरे कपड़े या कुछ कुछ रहता है ऐसे आयरन किए हुए कपड़े आते, तो वो हट के फिर नेक्स्ट डब्बा भी उसमें डब्बे लग गए, फिर थर्ड में डब्बा लग गया है ना. उसके बाद ना बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा था रखना, क्योंकि ऊपर नीचे हर जगह आ रहा था. फिर हम लोग ना एक माय एंड माय बॉयफ्रेंड एंड नाउ हस्बैंड, वी गॉट अ रैक लाइक दैट आयरन रैक जो आता है, स्टील रैक, ठीक है, वो वही रूम में लगा दिया था हमने. एंड फिर वो रैक धीरे धीरे भरता गया. देन वो रैक हो गया तो फिर बालकनी में हमने सामान स्टोर करना शुरू कर दिया था कि अब बालकनी में रखते हैं, अभी जगह नहीं है बची. फिर बालकनी में रखा. देन वी रियलाइज कि द हाउस इज गेटिंग स्मॉलर, सो देन आई मूव्ड इनटू अ बिगर हाउस एंड देन वन एंटायर रूम. So then we got like 2 more racks and then the one entire room became an office, like in my second house. And then I realized that ये भी छोटा पड़ रहा है, and then we bought like a big office for ourselves. So that's the journey. And I still have that Tupperware ka dabba that I took from mom, like one Tupperware dabba, and then the set of 6 that my dad got, I still have those with me. And yeah, so that's been the journey. Like I can see the entire journey.
Correct.
Coming in front of my eye, like okay, that was the day when I had that box. And honestly I never dreamt or I never thought कि मुझे इसको इतना बड़ा बनाना है. ठीक है, मतलब मैं बस वो करते जा रही थी because while I was doing this I was also consulting, doing my
Solo
previous
marketing.
हाँ, because obviously I couldn't just ditch everything and be like कि हाँ मैं ये करूँगी without
you have to be, I think, practical about it. I mean, you have to have
without knowing कि
until it works.
Yeah. So and then I started doing it, and then I realized like a few reels went viral and everything, and I started telling my clients, look, I can't do it anymore, and whatever. So I'm giving you a good amount of time, find another agency or another person. So I'm giving you 3 months time, and then look out for somebody for yourself, look out for someone for you guys. And then yeah, that happened, and then slowly I started hiring people under me. Now I have a team. So yeah, like from being a part of somebody else's team to now making a team of my own. So that's also been a journey.
No, absolutely. So how big is the team right now?
Relatively small. So I have a team of 5 people, 5 and me, 6 people at work, and then we work with a lot of freelancers who work with us from time to time. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds great. So I think I could see, Diksha, your face lit up when you started telling me the story ki matlab Tupperware ka dabba tha, and then how it started taking its own space. So I could see that definitely. And I think you saw the market gap. Ki ya to it's costly. If the quality is good, the earrings are costly. Or if it is cheap, then the quality is really bad, right? So you found that market gap and you wanted to do something about it. So sounds so good, sounds so beautiful. So I just wanted to ask you this, since we started talking about a little extra growing, right?